wonderful little race. You may have heard of it, called the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the endurance race that happens in France. And the super weird. So apparently, this was the 100th anniversary. Can't talk. It's also the 75th anniversary of NASCAR being a thing. And so, what did they do? They entered a NASCAR in the 24-hour Le Mans race, which was equally like really cool and very, very weird. I don't know. Did you see the photos of this thing?
Yeah, I know it's widely controversial. It looks as you would expect it to look.
Photoshopped because it's way bigger than all these like tiny little like endurance race like special whatever cars. You got this giant NASCAR. It screams like all the memes about like everything you're picturing in your head about like bald eagles and American flags and like all this crazy sound compared to it. All of it 100% true. Like you even had like there were Cadillac Le Mans cars there. And they had, V8s and stuff, but nothing compared to just like raw power coming out of this Camaro. That's, it's the Camaro, whatever, the new Camaro that's going to be, out this season in NASCAR. It's whatever the cup car design is. It was modified a little bit. Obviously, like bigger gas tank, lights, like real lights, things like that. It's a little bit longer, different aero, all that stuff. But yeah, they campaigned this thing. So this caused a lot of controversy, and it was like really weird because it fit in this really, it didn't like match up with any of these other cars, anything like that. So apparently I had no clue this was a thing. I frankly, to be honest with everybody too, have not followed this race very much, but now I kind of want to, which if that was the whole point, good marketing stunt. But apparently there's this thing called Garage 56 in the Le Mans race. And I think I had this epiphany like a day ago. And if everybody else is ahead of me on this and I'm just stupid, fine. But I'm assuming it's like they have like 56 garage stalls at the Le Mans race, or there's 56 slots. And so there's 55 teams for everything. And then Garage 56 is just the designation for whatever this is. Maybe. Don't know. Probably. But apparently this has always been since 2012. This has been like the experimental class. So like it's open to like single, like they're not in any classes with anything else. They're not GTE, anything like that. They're their own freestanding thing. They're not technically competing against anybody. Other than like a proof of concept, like something to try something different pretty much. So as part of that, they're not eligible to win the race. Like they're not actually eligible to like take the trophy or anything because they are kind of off limits. There's no specifications. There's no anything. It's just really meant to be like a proving ground.
Interesting.
I think it was Hendrick Motorsports. They campaigned this car. It was really cool. It was like Hendrick, Goodyear Tire, Chevrolet, NASCAR, all joined efforts. So like the four horsemen of America came together.
Right? Dude, Avengers like, assemble, but the Avengers are just like AR-15s riding bald eagles.
AC/DC playing in the background.
Yeah.
So
they just roll in. Holding the American flag out of like the passenger window, and they're just doing donuts. Like he's doing the what's the wrestler guy, the Austin 316, where he smashes the beers and he's chugging them. So and they're all sitting there with like their champagne, like, what are they doing here?
Right. Well, it's like the whole Ford versus Ferrari thing, like on steroids. Totally. It's like the whole thing, like, what are these people doing here? And they just show up like literally with a NASCAR. So what I didn't realize, I thought this was really cool because the thing had it was number 24 in the race, and I recognized the number was Jeff Gordon's like 24, and so I'm like, okay, wait a minute. And so I did a bunch of research on that too, because I'm like, is it like regular sports numbers? Is it like married to a driver? So what I didn't realize is Jeff Gordon is the team vice chairman for the Hendrick Motorsports NASCAR team. Yeah, so it is his number purposefully. Apparently, that number has won 97 Cup Series races, the fifth most in NASCAR history. And the current driver, William Byron. So apparently, there's like a new driver for 24, which is weird to me. Has added 4 more wins to that. So that was cool. So I didn't realize that they were like campaigning a number like that. And also that like these numbers are like these monolith things in NASCAR, which is kind of interesting. But there's a couple articles.
Billy B out there representing the US of A.
Right.
That's awesome.
Well, so there were 3 drivers who raced for the team. I got to find the thing. There was an IndyCar driver, a NASCAR driver, and then another dude, which I feel bad for not knowing. I think it was a Le Mans guy. Yeah, I'll look up the names in a second. So they had their next gen Chevy Camaro ZL1 race car. This was introduced in 2012, single entry class for innovative vehicles. Basically allowed for creativity. So if you open that link, I have like a
Oh
history
yeah.
of all of the other Garage 56 entries that have been notable over the
Oh,
past
okay.
decade. So first up on the list here was the Nissan Delta Wing in 2012. I don't know if you've remembered seeing pictures of this thing. It's a very weird looking car. It's exactly
I
what you'd
don't.
picture in your mind when I say Delta Wing.
Yeah, you're right. It is what I pictured. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but that looks
Okay.
wild.
Yeah, so that was that. That let's see. I don't know if they say too many details about the vehicle itself. The next one, 2014, was another version of a Delta Wing, but this was an all electric version. So this one had,
Oh, in
or I guess it was a hybrid.
2014.
It was a hybrid. It had lithium ion batteries, 300 brake horsepower, and then accompanying it was a 400 horsepower 3-cylinder combustion engine. Side note:
Wow.
where's that 300 or where's that 400
Yeah,
horsepower
right.
3-cylinder engine? I'd like to
I
see
know
it,
where it
please.
is.
I
It's
would
in
like
the
it for
Yaris GR.
I would like it for personal reasons that I can't disclose.
Yeah, right.
So there was that. That apparently did the first, let's see, reasonable and qualifying set the 27th fastest time, managed to set a lap using purely electric power, but then the gearbox issue, like there was a catastrophic failure and it couldn't race anymore after lap 5. So boohoo.
Wait a minute.
Um,
The
yeah.
2016 SRT 41. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Did you see the
Yep.
description?
Yep. Did you see the guy?
Yeah, is that
So
where you were
let me,
getting?
yeah, that's what
My
I was
bad.
just going to talk about. So no, you're good. So 4 years prior, so in 2012, businessman Frederick Sasset, probably butchered his name, sorry, dude, tragically lost all of his limbs to a vicious infection. So he fought back and set incredible records at the 2016 race. So he adapted a race car so he could operate the throttle and braking system with his thighs and steering column attached to his right arm limb because he only has a limb. He doesn't have a hand anymore. So he raced the race that way,
Dude.
qualified 32nd, finished at 38 for this 24-hour race. So then what do we got? 2021 was another one, another SRT 41 team. This time featured 2 disabled drivers, a motocross competitor who became paralyzed from the waist down, and a Grand Prix motorcycle rider who became similarly injured during a crash motorbike, both using an LMP2 car with hand controls. So there was another disabled team. And then the next one it skips to 2023 NASCAR.
I love that NASCAR, and then the picture too.
Yes,
All
yeah,
them.
the sky shot of the whole team. So yeah, so this was the celebration of the 75th birthday of NASCAR, which is crazy. So I guess all told, it finished the endurance race in 39th position out of 62 cars that entered. So pretty respectable. Their goal was to finish the race, and they were able to do it. They fixed a driveline issue that cost the squad about an hour of track time. Prior to that, it was ahead of all of the cars in the GTE class. So if it wasn't for the driveline issue, they actually would have been pretty well placed above an entire class, which is nuts. So
that's crazy.
It ran. So this is nuts to me because I looked it up. So this course, the Le Mans race in right next to Le Mans, France. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that name wrong too, which is great.
Le Mans, is that like the breathing for
it's either a race or breathing for pregnancy. So it is a 8.4 mile track. Okay. So for this 24-hour race, the Chevy ran 285 laps, which approximates out to about 2,400 miles of race time, which is nuts.
No wonder it had a driveline issue.
Out,
you
right?
go try driving full out for 2,400 miles and see if you don't have a driveline issue.
Right. Well, and for a fun comparison, they said this is roughly 4 Coca-Cola 600s, NASCAR's longest race on the schedule.
Dude, I love that. That's an amazing comparison. And I also love that we refuse to measure by we will measure by anything other than kilometers. Like,
that is
we're
true.
like, this is, how long that was? It was 4 Coca-Cola 600s.
They're like, oh, Coca-Cola 600, in parentheses, NASCAR's longest race. That's so funny.
That's equivalent to if you
funny.
wind up 697,000 washing machines. Like, we will not use the
No, kilometers. What would it be? It'd be like, that's if you sat 3,200 cans of beer end to end.
Yeah, that would be it. Yeah. Oh man, that's funny.
Let's see what else here. Yeah, so it obviously wasn't eligible for any trophy or anything like that, just because of the class it was in. But
make our own trophy.
Yeah, I forgot there was a quote in here that I thought was funny. I must have deleted it. Basically, they were like, their whole goal was just to finish. And so after the first little bit, oh, here we go. When we saw that we were in the hunt when we saw that we were in the hunt to be leading the GT class, is when we switched a bit from let's just cruise to all right, we can actually race a lot of these guys.
That's hilarious. Yeah, you don't have any expectations if you're not like you can see horsepower figures and whatever like that, but if you
Yeah.
don't know exactly where you're going to place until you start seeing that, that's funny.
Especially with something so different, like so drastically different looking, different scale, different everything. Like the other thing that was nuts, I think it was the only car in the race that didn't have functioning doors because NASCARs don't. So like
Ah,
they had to pull, like every time they had to get a driver in and out, they had to like obviously lift up through, they had to drop the window net, go out the window net. The next guy had to come in. They were showing it off in the pit stops because it's like the uncivilized, like it's kind of hilarious. It's like the uncivilized, like redneck American thing coming over to do this whole
yep.
thing. But it's like you said there's a pretty good video. I haven't seen it of it passing the Ferrari and
Yeah,
doing some crazy stuff.
dude.
But I know like the torque of it was just ridiculous. And
It
like
passed
it
the Ferrari and shifted along the way. Like it dropped a gear. Like, yeah, it goes from like fifth to sixth or whatever as it's passing
dude,
this Ferrari
all the
Super
memes
GT
with
car or whatever.
it over ACDC has just I've been losing it just to see this
Dude,
thing like ripping through. It's so
we
funny.
needed, I think as Americans, we needed this. We needed like a show of American excellence, you know? And like,
Yeah,
what better
just
way
a
than to like,
gentle reminder.
what better way than NASCAR to take a
That was
NASCAR
awesome.
over to some purely
Just
not
awesome.
NASCAR sport?
Yeah. Oh, you think this car can only turn left? Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
We'll beat the GTE class just because we feel like it,
And
which
then
is just
they're
awesome.
like, they were just testing it like it's all, you know, these scientist racist.
Yeah.
I almost said racist. Probably not off.
Ah.
I meant racer guys, going to test this car. And then they're like, shoot, Billy, I think we can win this thing.
Like you could totally picture the moment where they're like, huh. It's like
Yeah.
wasn't that in Ford versus Ferrari where they're driving and he's like, hey, if I can go above 10,000 RPM, like I can actually have a chance here. And then they're finally
Right.
like, do it, go above the RPM limit. And then he did. It's like there's more in the car. They just weren't driving
Yep.
hard, which maybe if they didn't, they wouldn't have had the driveline issue. But it's kind of cool that they like gave it all they got. They ran into a driveline issue, which like we just read the other Garage 56 cars like had driveline issues. There were in the race. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Le Mans standings. There were like a bunch of teams who didn't finish. So it's not like they were the only one at risk. There was, let's see, how many DNFs are there? Oh, it's not listing it on the site. I think there was like 5 or 6 teams that didn't finish based on whatever. If there was an accident, mechanical failure, something weird. But like that's a thing that happens regularly, but not for this team, which is kind of cool. I also heard rumors. I don't know how true it was, but like you got 3 drivers. So like 24 hours, 3 drivers. You're racing for 8 hours apiece, which like if you think about it, that's insane. Because like even like we've gone. This is a really dumb example, but we've gone go karting, and you go kart for like what 20 minutes, like 25 minutes maybe. You're going and go karting, and you finish, and you're like, wow, man, I was really wired for that go karting race. And like you're not driving 150 miles an hour. You're not doing anything crazy. Oh no, you're looking up how to how to correctly pronounce this.
Yeah, I just sent you for studying later. I didn't listen to it obviously, but
so yeah, okay. So like you're normally like that engaged for such a short period of time, and these guys are doing it for like 8 hours in their car, like at high end speeds, trying to set lap records, overtaking people in the middle of the night. And so apparently there's rumors that like while one driver's going, the others are like trying to rest or trying to relax to be ready for their racing position. And apparently this V8 screaming by kept waking the drivers up every time it would pass. So like every 3 minutes, this thing would pass and like wake people up, which is also like the most American thing ever, which is funny.
Yep.
But
Yep.
but yeah, I thought that was really funny. All right, let's see how I'm saying this word wrong. I got to watch this
let's
video
listen
now.
to the pronunciation. We should probably wrap it at that.
In France, it is said as Le Mans. Yes, the S is silent here. Le Mans.
Lemon, dude.
Le Mans.
Lemon. No, you said N. Lemon.
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 You know what?
Dude,
America, bro. Le Mans.
Yeah. Shout out Julie and Miguel. That was a fantastic video.
How it started was pretty intense.
Yeah. It's like, whoa. What are we watching?